This episode will review and practice disruptive thinking. And later in the practice section, you will need a sheet of paper and a pen or pencil. So look for that now while we get started. Disruptive thinking demands a shift in our mindset to argue with ourselves in a constructive way. You know, our first thoughts are often sourced from pre-programmed thoughts within our brain. And those are reliable, but also usually traditional thinking. We want to develop the ability to think disruptively ourselves. And that comes over time with practice. To do it quickly now, one way to accomplish this disruption is to assemble a diverse team to discuss a thought or a plan. People from different backgrounds will have different established synaptic connections, and their pre-programmed biases will vary. So this will invoke, differing reactions to your thoughts or your plans. So value those insights that come from that diverse team. Let's think of some guidelines of how you can break away from your traditional thinking. One guideline is to assume that your answer is second best and search for that really best idea as long as possible. Of course, there's a time when you have to get to a decision and you must move forward, but hold off as long as you can. If you have a tendency to, change your mind, that might point to insufficient contemplation time on your decision up front. We can also look for others who have a contrary point of view or an unusual reaction to our plan. The principle of failing fast applies here, meaning that you want to seek a person that you expect will really dislike your plan. Find some value in those awkward conversations, and particularly if someone is struggling to say they really just don't like your plan. There's something there to uncover. In your marketplace, study emerging trends and unfruitful efforts of others. Why are people enamored with a trend? Why did an effort stop? What are your competitors doing? These are different thoughts, and they will bring new ideas to you. Now, this is a quick common sense list, and you could add more. The real point here is that we often do not practice this. Our ego keeps us on the narrow road if we let it. In episode 2, we learned about neuroplasticity, which forms permanent synaptic pathways as skills are developed. The great news is there are many, many pathways that are fluid, programmable, and reusable. We must practice to use them. That's where disruptive thinking comes from. So let's try an exercise right now to use those non-programmed pathways. I want you to draw 30 circles as shown here on your piece of paper. Your circles don't have to be perfect. And I want you to draw them with your non-dominant hand. And just like moonwalking, this activity forces you to avoid using those well-established synaptic pathways. Your non-dominant hand is important to use. If you're right-handed, use your left hand. And if you're left-handed, use your right hand. Okay, that's going to force your brain to kick into a different gear. I will give you a minute to draw your circles right now. Now, your circles don't have to touch each other, but better if they don't overlap. And if you're having trouble using that non-dominant hand, just slow down. It's better to draw fewer circles than to quickly get them all down. You are training your brain right now. Two different ways. One is to improve that fine control of your non-dominant hand, And secondly, to use those non-programmed synaptic pathways. Train it well. So slow down a little bit if you need to. Now, many people have trouble just doing this step. So if this is true for you, later on after this episode, reflect on how habitual you have become. Reliance on only that dominant hand is an indicator of how you constrain yourself. Musicians who use both hands all the time are already finished with this exercise. They're waiting for the next step. So we're going to move on. Now, inside of each of those 30 circles, I want you to draw a symbol. You can draw any symbol that comes to mind, but you must not use those symbols of numbers or letters or Mandarin symbols if those are already etched into your synaptic pathways. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to fill in as many as you can. I'm setting a timer. And go ahead and get started filling in any symbols you want. Most people do not get them all done, so don't worry about quantity. The purpose is to activate those pathways that are not dictated by those known skills. Okay, so go ahead. You have 3 minutes. You have 2 minutes left. All right, 1 minute left. Don't stress or panic, just keep focused on drawing those symbols. All right, your time is up. So now your sheet might look something like this one. How are you feeling right now? You might have some fatigue, maybe even a headache. You might feel stressed out because you didn't fill in all the circles. That's okay. So no one's grading your homework today. So You'll see over time that you get better at this. If you repeat this exercise, don't reuse the same symbols that you did this time, because that just creates more synaptic pathways, and that's really not the point. The goal is to find exercises like this one to begin using those non-programmed pathways. Okay, so we're warmed up. We got our mind now thinking a little bit differently. So let's take on a practice of disruptive thinking. In this practice session, we're going to redefine a typical clamshell notebook into a virtual reality compute product. Now, you don't have to know how to design a notebook to do this exercise. Just think of the features of a notebook and how they might change to develop this new product. Virtual reality hardware and software are increasing in capability, and we know that one day a VR headset can replace your office monitors. You'll be able to wear a VR headset and have a very large display space for all of your applications. And that display space will be virtual in front of you, but will have the resolution and clarity good enough to work as you do today with monitors. So let's think of this product. We have the headset itself connected to the notebook. Now, what can we delete off of this notebook to simplify it, reduce it in cost, reduce the form factor into a VR compute product? So think about the minimum features that you need for this compute product. The minimum viable product feature set. So what can we delete? Now, first, we know right away we can delete the LCD. We don't need it. We have display space within our VR headset, so we don't need that display built into the notebook anymore. So what else can we delete? You want to question all the major features that you use. So now you think of yourself with this VR headset on. Typing on a physical keyboard might be awkward now since you can't see it. We often need to be able to look down and see where we are on that keyboard, or to hit those keys that are less frequently used. So you can't see that keyboard anymore. So can a virtual keyboard work that's visible through the VR headset in your virtual display space? So with gesturing technology, you'll be able to type in free space, but the movement of your fingers can be connected to that virtual space within your headset. And likewise, can a virtual touchpad work? Or do you need a touchpad at all? You know, a touchpad or a virtual mouse can be replaced by gesturing again with your finger and maybe tapping to indicate a click. So those are possibilities to replace those features. Now we're reducing the features that we need in our product. And since you're already wearing a headset, it can include the microphone and it can include speakers, and so those can be eliminated from the notebook as well. So you see, we've taken out quite a few of the features that you need. So if these virtual devices can work, we've saved cost and reduced form factor, but we've left in place some of the key things that we do still need. You need a processor, you need a CPU, and you need a GPU for graphics. You still need storage for your local files and your operating system. You still need a battery because you likely want this product to be mobile. You need Windows 10 or another operating system like it, and you need all the applications that you normally use. All of those are still needed. Okay, so you've now established a pretty decent idea of what this virtual compute product might look like and what general feature set it might still need, and you can begin to refine that. Now, the next step for your idea is really to put it aside. Let your subconscious work on it. You can refine your idea with input from other people. You can test your idea with customers as you build it. And many questions will need to be addressed. So, for example, what intellectual property needs to be developed for these virtual devices? Can we partner or pay for this new IP? Will a virtual reality compute product resonate with customers? Will we find resistance to change with our marketing or executive teams? Is this a good idea at all? So you have to answer some of those questions now. Set it aside, let your subconscious work on it. Bring it out, contemplate on it again, test it with customers and peers, and build it into a great idea. Now, this new skill and creativity will lead you to question many things that have been established. This disruptive thinking skill will open up new questions for you. So as a final thought-provoking topic, have you ever wondered why an F-15 fighter jet can fly up to 103,000 feet but not higher? Can it be reinforced to support zero air pressure environments? Can other means of propulsion allow it to maneuver all the way into outer space? It's just 200,000 more feet. It's not that far. Why do we need rockets to lift off the Earth? You see, these are questions that may occur to you, and you may think that these things have been figured out by someone much smarter, but perhaps not. At least a small question mark might now exist within you. It takes disruptive thinking to conjure up ideas like SpaceX. Behind a great problem is a solution and a disruptive team. I hope this video episode has given you more insight into why creativity has challenges within ourselves and others. Disruptive thinking is fun, it's thought-provoking, it's also a lot of work. And you may now see there are unlimited opportunities, both large and small. Thank you for your time and attention. Disruptive thinking can open a whole new world for you in new ways.